You're watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
Welcome back to the program. Joining me now, Caitlin Draper. She is a Democrat from Fayetteville. She is running against Congressman Steve Womack, assuming he wins his GOP primary for the 3rd Congressional District. Caitlin, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
All right. Tell everybody who doesn't know anything about you, tell me a little bit about yourself, your bio, and why you are running for this particular seat.
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in a diverse suburb of Dallas. I moved to Arkansas in 2007 because I got a scholarship to play saxophone in the Razorback Marching Band, which, fun fact, that makes me the second saxophone player to run for this seat. First was Bill Clinton. So I did my undergraduate and graduate degrees at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, met my husband here, fell in love, got married, and started a private social work practice. So I practice psychotherapy here in Fayetteville. And now I'm still practicing as a social worker and also teaching at the University of Arkansas School of Social Work.
Well, besides wanting to follow in Bill Clinton's footsteps and play saxophone and run for the 3rd District, what got you into this race in this particular cycle? What made you make the decision?
So growing up, my older sister was born with spina bifida. So she can't walk. She's never walked. And I watched her overcome challenge after challenge. She inspires me. When I was 15, my dad died. He had a heart transplant when I was younger and passed away of complications. So those things inspired me to become a social worker, watching people suffer and really wanting to help. And I think is ultimately pushing me to Congress. As a social worker, I see the people of Arkansas suffering under the oppression of our current leadership every single day. Our freedoms are at risk. Our rights are at risk. And I want to run for Congress in the 3rd District to advocate for the people here that don't have a voice or that do have a voice. I want to advocate for all Arkansans in the 3rd District.
All right, I'm going to pull something from your press announcement when you entered the race here. You said that you're going to fight to restore reproductive freedom and lower costs for working families. I'm assuming, I don't want to assume, but I'm assuming that you're obviously pro-choice.
Yes.
What are these costs for working families that you have concerns about?
You know, inflation has hit our middle class huge. Families are having a hard time putting food on the table. The cost of living in Northwest Arkansas is rising at an exponential rate, and families aren't able to keep up. I think that Arkansas needs help. I think we need aid. And I think that Congress is able to deliver, and they haven't delivered.
Republicans would say that that's President Joe Biden's fault that we have inflationary problems like you're outlining.
I would disagree. And I would say that, our own representatives here in Arkansas have voted to strike down billions of dollars worth of aid to our state. So I feel like that's egregious, and our working families deserve so much more.
All right. You said, too, in your announcement that we deserve a member of Congress who answers to the people of Arkansas, not to his party leaders, referencing Congressman Womack on that. He has stood up to his party leaders in recent weeks. I'm not going to say he's done that on every single vote, but he has done that in recent weeks, opposing Jim Jordan's speakership. He voted to oust George Santos, which a lot of the members of the Republican Congress did not do. Is it fair to say that he doesn't stand up to his party leaders?
I believe so. Frankly, at the end of the day, he voted for Mike Johnson, and Mike Johnson is a direct threat to our democracy. Mike Johnson is staunchly pro-life, wants to ban abortion across our country. He wants to cut Medicare and Social Security for our elderly and disabled folks. It's egregious.
Give me an example or two of how you would have voted differently than Congressman Womack on a particular big picture issue. It could be infrastructure. It could be something else that has been out there over the last couple of the last year or so. What would you do different than Congressman Womack in terms of particular votes?
Well, there's a lot. One thing that comes up for me is Womack says that he's for families. However, if you'll think back not that long ago, less than a year ago, maybe a year ago, there was a huge shortage of baby formula, and there was a bill that was out attempting to lower the cost and increase the supply of formula, and he voted against that. You can't say you're for families and vote against those sort of policies. He also says that he is pro-veteran. He is a veteran, yet he votes against things that help veterans. There was a Veterans Care Act that he voted against. So those are things that really disturb me and that I feel I would do differently.
When we see what's going on in Israel and in the Middle East right now, just tell me what your thoughts are on how, as a congresswoman, you would address that situation. What would be your leadership style in terms of how we should position ourselves as a country to either support Israel, support the Palestinians that are looking for their own right to land there? What would be your perspective on that?
Well, first of all, I have to say, as a human being, my heart is absolutely shattered. There are innocent civilians who have been killed in both Israel and in Gaza. We have to unite and find a solution that recognizes the right of both Israel and Palestine to exist in peace and freedom. Hamas is what stands in the way of this. They commit horrific terrorist attacks and hide behind the innocent civilians of Gaza. At home, we need to do more to fight the horrifying rise in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. And we've seen that rising in the last few weeks all over the country. Our Congress needs serious leadership. And Steve Womack and his Republican allies are playing politics with aid to the region, tying it to budget cuts to protect tax cheats. So that's where I stand. I think that we need to unify and find peace.
All right. Again, another long-standing conflict that Congress has had its hands in, and that is the Ukraine situation, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. There's been a lot of American aid that has been sent to the Ukraine. There are some people in Congress that want to pull back on that. Do you support keeping the levels where they are, spending more money to support Ukraine? Do you think we should be pulling back from some of that support?
I would need more information, but as it stands, I think that we should fully support Ukraine because where does it stop? It starts with Ukraine, and where does it stop? I don't know.
I don't have to give you too many examples, but challengers to Congressman Womack over the last decade have not fared too well in their elections against him. He has won handily. I think the last time he was up for re-election, over 2/3 of the vote went his way. You're running as a Democrat in a district that has not elected a Democrat in quite a few decades. Tell me what's going to be
Since
different
1964.
this time around. So yeah,
Since 1964.
Bill Clinton couldn't even do it. So
I know.
with the saxophone and everything. Tell me how it's going to be different this time. What are you going to do that you feel is going to give you a chance to win?
Well, two things come to mind. Number one, education. Educating folks and empowering folks to make the vote. It's actually very hard to vote, especially if you are a member of a marginalized community. So working with folks to make their voting plan is going to be very important. I also think that as a social worker, I have a pulse on the needs of our community. And so meeting people where they're at, getting to know what they need, and using my voice will earn the trust of my constituents.
All right, you're going to have to get out of Fayetteville. That district's pretty big, so you got a lot of travel plans.
Oh, yeah. I'm planning on traveling everywhere, and we've already been to Crawford County. We're going to Sebastian County next week. I plan on spending a lot of time talking to people all over, so I have a pretty flexible schedule, and I got a fire in my belly, so I'm ready.
All right. Her name is Caitlin Draper. She is a licensed social worker in Fayetteville, Arkansas. She's running as a Democrat for the 3rd Congressional District in Northwest Arkansas. Thank you for being with us this morning. Appreciate your time so much, and good luck to you in your travels.
I genuinely appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
We are back with more right after this word from our sponsors.